Dr. Giggles from SFNEOnline, and of course, your host of the Growth Show. Today's video, I just kind of wanted to have like one of those thought topics. We've talked about it a few times during the Growth Show, and I wanted to get a feel for what everybody's thoughts were on this. And today's video is about shareholders ruining the theme parks, and we're gonna kind of do like a little bit of like my thoughts, opinions, and rants and whatever about it. And then you guys can let me know if you agree, disagree, or if you want to add to it. You can just do that down in the comments down below. All right, so a lot of times, we talk about things, and by all means, I'm not saying I'm an expert on this topic. This is just, one of those topics that, we've talked quite a bit about, when somebody brings up some kind of topic or some kind of comment during a live show. And, it seems like in today's world that you would think, shareholders would be a little bit more apt to want to make money. I mean, they always want to make money. It's all about cut the costs, make the money, and they all want a return on investment. Fair enough. That's a fair assessment. You invest in a stock, you buy some stock, you want to get a return on what you paid for it. You don't want to lose money. But a lot of the times in business, and it's crazy how they think about this, but I feel in business that, they always say spend money to make money. Now, I'm not saying go way out of your means to spend money to make money. They just put you in a hole. But when it comes to theme parks, and there's a more underlying issue as well. When they create a debt load, and then when you look at the financial reports from the the quarterly reports, and you're trying to get a hold on what things mean and all that, and they look to their percentage of income to debt ratio, and you're looking at it going, well, yeah, they keep piling on the debt. And I understand, we'll take Six Flags, for example, even Cedar Fair. I know Six Flags has something like, if memory serves me correctly, I was looking it up, $2.4 billion in debt, but they're doing good and they're making money, et cetera, plus the value of the company, so they're in a good spot at the moment. And I think that's another reason why, like this year with announcements across the board between the two parks, just wasn't a ton of stuff. You look at Cedar Fair, they got Orion as the big ride, Six Flags for Six Flags Great Adventure. The big ride was the Jersey Devil, and the rest of it was either flat rides, water ride, water park stuff like that. So I get it. So I feel because of the debt load, because of shareholders and their views and their opinions of how they want to create money and cut costs, I think in the long term hurts the theme parks, because a lot of it and things that I've seen and been told within the industry is due to the shareholders. They're limited on what they can and can't do based on trying to get a return on investment for the investors. Now, I don't know what happens to a park when you take away the stock and you make the company private. You just don't have to disclose numbers and you do your thing. By all means, that's cool too. I just feel, personally, if the shareholders were out of the equation, what could the theme park business look like? Would they carry more debt and be in more trouble? Would they do better things, get better attractions? They set aside X amount of dollars, and every year it changes. They're going to say, we're going to set aside, say, I don't know the number, but just say $110 million to spread between all the parks. So take Six Flags with all the parks, water parks, stuff like that. You're spreading yourself thin in that $110 million investment. So one park gets something good, everybody else gets something small. And I'm not knocking the small attractions at all. The parks are looking at what they need, where they want, the needs. They're going to look for the bang for the buck. So if you can get the same rise in attendance as, say, a water coaster that is significantly less than a giga coaster, so to speak, well, you're going to put in a water coaster. You're not going to, if you're going to get the same bang for your buck, why not go cheaper? And I get it. But I think it seems to stand that when you look at what the shareholders are crying about all the time is they want to see, the dividends. They want to see that return. They want to see their stock price go up. Of course, you invested in a park, and I get that. I see this across other industries too. The shareholders just wrecking havoc, saying you can do this and you can't do that. And, we want this, especially the bigger that own more majority of shares than others. And it's just, it's mind boggling to me because I'm not totally like, I don't own any stock inside the theme park universe. I just look at it as you're not going to get rich off of buying stock for any of the theme, not even Disney. Not right now. I mean, you'd have to hold on to it for decades before you really made a killing on it. But when you look at some stuff, and then sometimes when things go on, like big deals, when a company's buying parks or companies, like the Disney with the Fox thing, and you start hearing the shareholders, we want this and we want that, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And they seem that they're like, I don't care about you spend. A lot of shareholders do not want you to spend a lot of money. They want your operational costs as cheap as possible. They want your investment costs as cheap as possible and get the most return on the money. And that's why I think a lot of the times it becomes a failure. I've seen other companies in other industries, their stock wasn't doing too great. They took the company private, never put it back on the stock market, and they're doing amazing things. They're expanding, growing, and all that. So my question to you guys is, do you think if shareholders were not a part of the thing of, theme parks, just as we're just talking about this industry, do you think that it would be better or harmful to these companies for having shareholders? Do you think being private and not on a stock market, do you think they would get out of control with debt and just run free and give everybody the big coasters and big rides they want? Or would they still maintain trying to keep that debt to revenue ratio? I mean, I kind of suspect that you'd have a little bit more investment than you do now, but I don't think too much more. I just think that honestly, the stockholders, in a sense, I would say there's a touch of it that taken away from the investments that a lot of fans, enthusiasts would love to see. Now, I don't just necessarily roller coasters, but there might be some people that don't really care for the roller coaster and like, well, we want some like awesome flat ride or a flat ride package. Or if there's just people that are all about the water park and they're not getting anything, and I know that a lot of these companies have been in deep duty with their debt. And I know they're trying to find the line of, well, how do we do this? And do the shareholders play a role in it? I think the shareholders play a role into making sure they just keep that debt load down. Because if you look at it with the shareholders, they all want what they call the share buybacks. So it's kind of, in a sense, it is, but it isn't, getting the debt down. Because like, look at Six Flags. When they went into bankruptcy in 2010, the creditors took, forgave debt for shares. So until, I guess, the buyback's complete or they've made enough money with their shares to sell them off, it seems that people like the CEOs and stuff and people in charge are going, let's buy back the debt so that they can get these creditors off their backs and get them out of play so they can just run the company how they would like to. Because I'm sure like the banks and the other creditors, that the people they owed money to that have stock are just kind of just sitting there going, give me my money, give me my money. So instead of paying the debt down, they're paying the creditors off the money that are owed to them. And by all means, that's fair enough. They're buying the shares off these people to get them off their back, but then they're also not paying down the debt as much as they could, because you could have taken that money that you were paying back to the shareholders and pay your debt down. They probably could have almost paid off the debt by now. Since in almost a decade, they probably could have paid off the debt just by, instead of doing share buybacks. So again, see, that's why the shareholders kind of throw a little monkey wrench into this, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see. So I guess time will tell, especially with like Six Flags, Cedar Fair, Disney, and Universal, and so on, to see where this goes. Are the shareholders going to keep, what I call is putting the foot on the throat, choking them out? to see what happens. Because, I mean, Disney and Universal is different. They're just going to spend the money. They see where they got the money, they're investing in crazy attractions, and they're bringing the people in. I mean, it's kind of like, what's that baseball movie there? Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. I mean, if you build a great attraction for the park that you're in, you're going to see attendance boost. If you don't really do much, you're just going to stay flat or less attendance. People want big attractions, but you can't always give a $20, $25, $30 million attraction every year. Then you really be in debt and close and be in trouble. So you got to play it safe. I get it. But I think if shareholders were out of the picture, me personally, I think part of the problem would be solved. Not all of it, but I think you'd have a good 40%, 40% problem solved, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Do you think the shareholders are really hurting them? If you do, let me know why. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why. If you're on the fence about it, let me know why. And we'll talk about it in the comments down below. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching. Keep on coasting, y'all. Peace.